My name is Julian, and welcome to my channel. I already pulled some cards here today. I'm going to talk about them in just a moment. Hope you're well. I'd like to thank Spirit for your presence. I'd like to invite in Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, powers of the earth and the heavens, and the animals and the plants. I'd like to invite in my guides, as well as any guides of the collective who would like to transmit any particular messages, etc. Finish clearing the space here, and I'll get into it. Alright, so once again the levers came out, and that popped out when I was shuffling, so I decided to leave it, of course. And once again, got a lot of big energies here, multiple major arcana cards, seven major arcanas here on the table. Oh, I'm also going to pull a mystery card, a medicine card that'll tie everything together at the end. So it's been a theme in all of these readings that I've done on this channel so far. And depending on when you're watching this is a very early one. So the levers, choice, freedom of choice, masculine, feminine, can be associated with temptation, the mountain on the back, aspirations, spiritual aspirations, desires, etc. But for us, I'm again seeing divine union. So to be clear, these cards here, these ones represent what's behind us, these ones what's in front of us, and this is what's coming toward us on the right side of the table here, or left for you, are all clarifiers. So what's right behind us, we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, the Knight of Swords in reverse. What's in front of us is the Four of Pentacles in reverse, the Ten of Wands, and then what's coming toward us is the Hermit and the Magician. And before I get into the clarifiers, again, there's a lot of intensity. I'm getting nightmare energy with this Nine of Swords. And depending on the context, the reversed position could have more of an overtly positive connotation, but in this case, I'm really seeing, we're at the bottom of the wheel right now, or were, and in the present, not only are you taking on more than you can handle, really, but not keeping enough for yourself, with this Four of Pentacles in reverse. But with all the tens, it signifies the completion of a cycle. And while the Wands and Swords have more overtly negative connotations, it also represents the end of a cycle. And like the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, the fact that it was in reverse, and if you saw the last reading, it was on its side, it's in the process of moving, as these things are. And I think that this Wheel of Fortune showing up where it did, when it did, is a testament to the fact that it's in the process of moving upward. I'm always of a mind to want to focus more on the center of the wheel from a detached place, to know when I'm in the up that it's going to shift downward and vice versa. But I feel like these intense, haunting energies behind us have been so daunting and intense that they certainly play a role in us, in the current energies, obviously. And taking on more than we can handle. And my guess is that that's been a pattern that led to this Wheel of Fortune in reverse and Nine of Swords in reverse. But we're at the end of it, perhaps at the end of your rope. And through going within, maybe keeping a little more for yourself, balancing the elements. That's part of why the swords and the wands, the tens, have more negative connotations, is like, if it's all fire, if you complete a cycle with all fire or all air, all thought, there's no more room for harmony or balance. Can't really breathe too much in that. So through going inward, balancing these elements and getting clear on what we need to release, and tapping into the willingness to do so, then we move into Nine of Cups energy, abundance. There's a lot of fruit on this card in the Crow Tarot, the fruits of our labors. So it's not all negative here. It's like we may not need to work as hard as we have been or take on that much, and it's essential that we keep more for ourselves. The Two of Cups came out in reverse again with both decks I'm using, actually, both in reverse this time. Excuse me. So it's not all bad, because we have sown seeds, and now we're shifting into a time where we can see the fruits of our labor. But with these Two of Cups, these two of Cups in reverse, maybe you're in a time when a lot of relationships are falling apart, or you're coming to terms with, or being pushed by the universe to look at maybe codependent tendencies in yourself or in your relationships, etc. And these are things that we need to let go of. And beyond that, with both of these, I'm seeing an emphasis on filling your own cup, which is another theme that keeps coming out in these readings. And we also have, just to go over them, we've got the Hermit in reverse, the Moon, the Fool in reverse, the Six of Swords, and the Queen of Swords. So I feel like often the Fool in reverse, again, it could go either way. The point is, here, I don't see it as, recklessness or naivete per se, as much as integrating all of this intensity from our past, and going inward willingly. We're being initiated into a time of more caution, maybe spiritual caution, courage. We see the cliff now, and we may still choose to jump off of it into the unknown. But with our eyes wide open. And through this, I see the Hermit in reverse here, especially right next to the Moon. I feel like we're in this process of integrating the shadow and, these parts of ourselves that we reject. Ultimately, we don't really understand, but we're afraid to look at because our programming tells us, well, these things are good, these things are bad. And these intense, darker parts of ourselves are often just written off as being bad. But those are the parts that often bear the richest gifts, not only for ourselves, but what we have to give to the world. And that's what I see with the Hermit in reverse. Through the process of internalization, union within, filling our own cup, holding our pentacles for a while. Then, make a wish, and we can come out into the world facing the shadow and integrating the shadow and just acting with that much more power and awareness. And that's what I'm seeing with the Queen of Swords here. Not only do we have a deeper understanding, or, depending on where you're at, if it doesn't feel that way, all of this stuff is working toward that. Anything that feels negative or is negative, it's not pointless or meaningless. It can be used, and those have, the most precious gems, that intensity, that darkness. So not only do we have a deeper understanding here that is blossoming, but, if we focus on the feminine aspect, I think we're opening ourselves to receiving new ideas, new modes of thought, reprogramming. And in any case, the Six of Swords here signifies a moving away into a safer, more peaceful space. Especially at this point, if looking at current events, which are hard to miss no matter where you are at this point, it may not appear that way on the outside, and the fact is it may not appear that way on the outside for a long time, but it is within our power to cultivate and walk in a state of inner peace and balance and harmony, etc. And that if we focus, on nature, on the harmony that is always present, the chaos that we see, yes, the astrology influences it, but a great deal of it is just the intensity of people who have not cultivated that balance and harmony within themselves, and who feel lost and isolated, trapped, scared, angry, repressed. They're not integrating the shadow. They don't even know to, or whatever it may be. That's a lot of then what we see reflected out in the collective dream, in the world, the mirror. And so it's really up to us as individuals to cultivate that within ourselves. And that doesn't necessarily mean walking around all happy-go-lucky all the time, but if that's you, do it. If you can access that energy and you feel authentic in that, by all means, I'm not shitting on that, but balance and harmony within are possible through releasing what we don't need, letting go of toxic relationships. Don't let yourself get taken advantage of. If we really value our time and our being, if we have self-respect through and through, then we don't unconsciously teach people how to manipulate and use us. And I'm not, it's not a conscious thing, and it hurts to be taken advantage of. But at the same token, it's like part of integrating the shadows, realizing that, we accept whatever amount of abuse from others that we give ourselves. Does that make sense? To whatever we see our self-respect or lack thereof reflected back to us in the world around us and our relationships. So moving away from these things, letting go, integrating them, facing them, not avoiding them, denying, running from them, but integrating, facing it, we reach understanding that then we can shine out into the world, when we cultivate that inner light and we see it, we know it's there, it can shine outward, and we can have a more positive influence, which it may seem minuscule, but it's not. Everybody does their part, and every little thing we do sends ripples out into the entire cosmos. So, thank these shadowy parts for serving you in whatever way they have. Even if it doesn't seem like they have, release them and move forward. Now let's pull a mystery card. We've got number 3, Elk. Perfect. Wow. Talk about integrity, grace, malice, harmony, self-respect. Burned some of my arm hair with that candle. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Elk, your antlers reach for the sun. Show me that strength and stamina are one. 3. Elk, stamina. Elk wandered through the forest looking for a partner. The mating season was in full swing, and the bucks that usually traveled with the other males had dispersed to find mates for the season. As Elk bellowed his mating call through the forest, his bugling alerted Mountain Lion that a feast could be in the making. Mountain Lion circled Elk, getting closer to his prey moment by moment. Elk sensed the impending danger when the forest grew suddenly silent. He broke for the high country when he spotted his pursuer, but Mountain Lion was far behind. As Elk made a running leap for the timberline, Mountain Lion gained on him, but Elk continued to run onward, displaying tremendous stamina. Finally, Mountain Lion gave up, having spent his energy in spurts as he tried to jump over boulders to reach Elk. Elk paced himself, making headway as he climbed skyward toward the high country. Elk had no other defense except his ability to go the distance, setting a pace that allowed him to utilize his stamina and energy to the fullest. Elk medicine teaches that pacing yourself will increase your stamina. Elk medicine people may not be the first ones to arrive at a goal, but they always arrive without getting burned out. If you have taken on too much recently, it might be a good idea to look at how you plan to finish what you have started without ending up in the hospital. Elk have a curious kind of warrior energy because, except at mating time, they honor the company of their own gender. They can call on the medicine of brotherhood or sisterhood. In discovering the strength which is gained from loving the gender that is your own, you will feel the comradeship that arises from similarity of experience. This is a special medicine that allows the friendship of others of your same sex to overcome potential competition or jealousy. If you have picked Elk medicine, you may be telling yourself to seek the company of your own gender for a while. You may need a support group to realign yourself with the stamina of the warrior or warrioress energy that you are a part of. This communication with others of your own sex allows you to air your feelings in safety and to get feedback from others who have had the same experiences. You may need a new sense of community, communication in unity. Wow. Elk could also be telling you to look at how you are holding up physically to the stresses in your life, and to pace yourself so that you maintain an equilibrium of energy over the distance you plan to cover. Vitamins or high-energy foods may be one solution, along with some personal quiet time for replenishment. Beautiful. All right, well, I don't think I have much left to say on that note. Again, the Lover's card being the spirit here, or the spirit card here. I think this is all in the process. I know I keep saying this in my videos, but union within, divine union. 3, perfect. And I guess that's it. Keep at it. Stay positive. Love yourself. Respect yourself. Let's see. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And many blessings and much love. See you next time.